I told you about my obsession with comedians, except I don't actually like stand-up comedy? It's a bit of a paradox. As an artist, though, I have learned so much from the discipline of stand-up comedy, even though I don't actually watch it. Compare and contrast. Artists are alone in their studio, communing with the divine, expressing the muse, and being altogether unique and singular. Meanwhile, comedians are in the trenches of late-night dive bars, talking into a mic to 45 semi-drunk people, trying to spark delight with mass appeal. In this episode, I'm going to share with you 3 valuable lessons that I've gained from the comic that I bring into my own artistic practice. Welcome to the Josie Show, where it's artist chat about making art and selling art, because I think artists should get paid. And one of the best way that artists can make a profit is by setting their prices correctly. The topic is a bit complex, and I get tons of questions about this, but I have a whole downloadable worksheet that will help you find your profitable pricing. It's free, and you can find it at josielewis.com/pricing. Lesson number 1 on how comedians teach me to be a better artist is iteration. Yes, it's a $5 word. Comedians do the same act to different audiences over and over and over again. They tweak the timing, a word, the emphasis, the punchline, the expressions, the affect, the tone. They are looking for the universally funny, the delivery that delights the most people consistently. When you see the big stars on stage, when they say something like they just thought of it, know that they have delivered that line hundreds or even thousands of times. Artists will do well to iterate on a theme also. So often artists are butterflies, refusing to perch on any one flower for any length of time. That can amount to an enjoyable hobby, but not a thriving art career. We call artist iteration creating a collection of work in a similar theme. The second lesson from comedy is audience collaboration. An artist can easily be consumed by the high and lonely calling of making art alone in their ivory tower, and their art can become so obscure as to have zero decipherable meaning and zero value to pretty much anybody. I have known artists who are actually highly suspicious of a positive reception to their work, thinking that people liking their work proves that their art is probably bougie, plebeian, populist, and easy. All well and good if there is a fancy art group or prestigious critic that likes your work. But sadly, that is rarely the case. Usually, the artist labors in obscurity. The artist both resents and revels in failure, thinking that the failure to connect with an audience is proof of their genius and being ahead of their time. Comedians don't have that luxury. They have to connect, and they have to get immediate feedback. Being a professional artist means, like the comedian, responding to feedback and altering your act. With social media, I get immediate real-time feedback. When I offer a collection for sale, I get immediate real-time feedback. I can take that information to tweak what I'm offering and to try to dial it in so my audience resonates more completely with what I'm making. It's a bit of a tightrope, but it's worth walking. The final lesson from the comedian for the artist is a crazy paradox that I love. Though the best comedians discover their voice in collaboration with their audience, their voice is no less unique. The best comedians and the most beloved comedians are also the weirdest. Most audiences want to be surprised and delighted by something they haven't heard yet. The best comedians have an incredibly unique voice and surprising delivery, but they didn't create it in a vacuum. They created it in relationship to their audience. Their audience had inputs, the performer had outputs. So for the artist, our interaction with the world at large, making our collections, connecting with our supporters, and yes, even with our haters on social media, is the very thing that can push us to a more unique expression and, frankly, better art. Can you think of any other similarities between comedians and artists? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you there.